To politics now. A little bit of a downer after all of that. So Keir Starmer is promising today that there will be the biggest transfer of power from Westminster to the British people. He's unveiling a new report on Britain's future in Leeds later.
Yeah, it's called A New Britain, and it makes multiple recommendations, including handing more power to local authorities, moving civil servants out of London and reforming the House of Lords.
Well, with us this morning is the Conservative... it says political commentator Albie Almond-Conan.
No,
That's
he's
not
been
the
and gone.
case. It's our political editor, Darren McCaffrey, who joins us from where that speech is going to be made a little bit later on. Good morning. Good to see you, Darren. Look, this has been long planned. It's not necessarily Labour policy yet. It's going to be consulted on, but it's going to be significant in terms of what shapes the legacy of Sir Keir Starmer, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. If he becomes, of course, Prime Minister, Isabel, as you say, these plans have been worked on for the last 2 years or so with Gordon Brown. Do you remember him, the former Prime Minister? Well, he's been compiling this report for the Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer, and it is looking at some big constitutional reforms. Now, the argument the Labour leader will make a little later on today here in Leeds is that the power in the UK is too centralised at Westminster, that it is detriment to decisions made across the UK. He'll say that things like levelling up and the Northern Powerhouse are good ideas from the Conservatives, but they can't really be properly implemented if local authorities, mayors, devolved governments don't really have the power to implement many of these policies. And that is why, as you say, he's going to propose, or at least this report is going to propose, the devolution of more powers to local councils, to mayors across the country, to governments. It involves a transfer of around 50,000 civil servants outside of London. And perhaps most eye-catchingly of all, it's going to talk about the abolition of the House of Lords. Now, there is some controversy about this, not least of all because it's been much talked about in the past, though it must be said the House of Lords has had its reputation pretty badly damaged in recent years. It's bloated over 800 members. Many see it as linked to cronyism, essentially jobs for people who have done favours for Prime Ministers in the past. Now, it looks like this report is going to propose that the upper chamber, the House of Lords, should indeed be elected. However, it's not entirely sure where Sir Keir Starmer will fall on that, because, as you say, he is not going to say the report will be implemented in full. He's going to consult on it first. Suggestions that, yes, Labour is committed to a second elected chamber, but it may not happen in a first Labour term. Anyway, we're going to get all the details and indeed hear from Sir Keir Starmer a little later on this morning here in Leeds. But as then fundamentally his argument is, if you believe in something like Brexit, it means taking back control, but not just to Westminster, he would argue, to the different parts of the United Kingdom too.